Hey guys, welcome back to Chasing Green Arrows. We have a deadline. We have got a deadline today, and therefore it's a little bit different because we usually stream on a Friday lunchtime and it's a Saturday deadline. It's all a bit chill, but we can start to get a little bit twitchy because we've got decisions to make. Dean, early start for you. Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, thanks, mate. It is an early start, 6 a.m. here. I wasn't 100% convinced I would be making this stream today, knowing Thanksgiving can be a lot, and our kids were exhausted at the end of the day. I was like, they're going to be ill. One of them seemed like he might be ill. I was like, oh no, he's going to be up all night. I'm not going to make the stream. But it's all good, mate. Had a good day, and I'm happy to be here. So thanks to everyone for joining us, whatever time it is, wherever you are. The deadline is looming. FPL James says, how aren't you hungover and missing this? Yeah, I actually had probably more drinks the day before Thanksgiving, turned out. I treated it like Christmas Eve, I think. You know, like in England, you traditionally, like when you're younger, especially go out on Christmas Eve. I think I kind of did that, met with a few people. So, no, completely clear-headed here today, which is a nice feeling. My team, I think I'm sticking with G this week. I don't know if I'm going to make a transfer yet.
Okay.
A couple of things to debate, which we'll talk about later on. But all in all, I'm going to try and not make knee-jerk transfers anymore. I want to just like trust this group in my dressing room and be like, come on, lads, this is it. You're all good players. But like, the run of games I've got, I was like looking ahead at my team. I was like, oh, if I could just stick with them and not panic each week about missing an asset, I feel like I can get rewards from my team. And in the members chat, a few people have been saying that, like, it's just about consistency and just managing to like avoid being too worried about who you're missing each week and just trusting what you've got. Because obviously you jump around assets time to time and you end up missing points that you would have got anyway. If you do want to join the Member Zone, it's obviously fully open. We've got the 2 tiers. We've got the section where you get extra videos and just support the channel. And you, of course, also get to come and join the WhatsApp group, which I do 100% recommend. So, yeah, if you get the chance to do that, please do come and back us. We've given away a few memberships, haven't we, G, since we've started doing this. There have been a few people who have been lucky enough to pick up a few freebies. So if they're good boys and girls, maybe we'll be able to get to the moment when we start doing that again.
Yeah, I think we could. I think today, if we hit, I don't know, let's say 20 subscribers between now and the end of the hour, so 55 minutes to hit 20 subs, I reckon let's give away 5 channel memberships. We can do that. Yeah, okay. Yeah, let's do it. Because we have a monthly allocation, and today's the 29th, and we won't be streaming again until the month ends, right? Because it will be, was it Sunday the 30? Yeah, no, 30 days has November.
There you go.
April, no, 30 days has September, April, June, and November. So yeah, we got Sunday the 1st. So I think we might even have 10 to give away. I don't know. It'll be 5 or 10.
5 or 10.
Because you get an allocation of 10 a month. It seems silly not to give away all 10 because then 10 people get to sample your extra vids.
Extra vids, yeah. And it's funny, the extra vids are just like, they're much more casual, right? Like on some channels, like it might be like talking to camera quite seriously and like, here's my advice and tips. And I feel like our vibe is a bit more like, yeah, we're just your mates and we're just going to chat to you about our thoughts or things that we're hearing in football or in the FPL community. And that's what you get from us. So, yeah, if you fancy it, do jump in and we'll try to give out a few across the course of the show. There's some good questions coming in already, G. Well, I like this one from John because this has been something that's cropping up more and more. Says, wants to know about Ashley Young. Last 6 games and have we all missed the boat on him and should we have already been on him?
Yeah, Seamus Coleman is back training, but not ready to be in the matchday squad as well, because that could eat into Young's minutes. Mikalenko and Young have been the first choice at centre backs, but don't forget Patterson and Coleman are still around, guys, and they are at times favoured by Dyche. But yeah, we may have just missed the boat because the fixtures are properly turning for Everton. Like it gets bad. FPL fella, thank you so much, mate. So he's gifted a channel membership, so we don't need to wait to the end of the hour. And Heather got it. And Heather is one of our chasers. Heather, that is absolutely awesome. You can thank Fella in the chat, I'm sure. Fella also said, has Gianni got a new camera? Looks really sharp today. It's not the camera, it's the lighting. Lighting makes such a difference. And if you're sat by a window, as I am, as you can see, if the sun is coming in, which you don't get much in England, then it always works. Always work well.
No, I mean, dark here at the moment, mate. The sun's not even up yet. So no, that's why my room looks a bit dark. Like it's very pitch black outside at the moment. So got a light here. I've got a light here. Got a light up there. Decided not to put on the light that's behind me because it sometimes makes a bit of a glare onto the screen. But yeah, if I look like I'm in a bit of a dark room, that's because it is still dark here. The sun has not come up yet. But the good news is, once the sun does come up in San Diego, it does stay up until 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So that's nice.
Yeah, you get it all day. I mean, British 87, by the way, has also gifted a membership.
What?
Legend. Love that. So Ram was gifted the membership. So we've already had Heather and Ram. You'll see now by their name, they've both got that little star emoji. That means they're one of our members, which is pretty
This is
cool.
like a proper Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
This is so everyone's being so nice to each other. I love our vibe over here. I love it. Do like and share if you can.
You're right.
Yeah, do give us a like, a subscribe, a share, tell your mates down the pub, whatever. We do need to keep this channel growing if we can. And we definitely can, right? We can definitely get this channel being bigger. And you'll always be our main community.
Oh my God, we've had another one.
Wow.
VJ, he's Chris
Wood's got a
Woodstock
super
again.
sticker.
Yeah. So Chris is another one of our chasers getting a membership, which is wicked. So guys, stay tuned because, as I say, we're going to give away another 5 or 10 later in the show as well. But you can keep them coming. We love that.
This is
Thank
great.
you, guys.
This is the friendliest chat I've ever seen.
We should probably talk FPL soon. We're 8 minutes in.
Well, we did do the question of Ashley Young, so that should cover it for the rest of the day, right?
Massive headline in FPL this week about Ashley Young. Forget João Pedro and Mateus Cunha. Forget about your captaincy dilemmas. We're here to bring you the hottest takes on Ashley Young.
Absolutely. What's my hot take? Here's one on Man City.
87's gone again. Sorry, we got another membership gifted.
Oh my goodness. There's no time to talk. We'll catch up on it all. Man City Liverpool is obviously the biggest game of the weekend. I don't see how Man City can get out of this space in their heads unless we get a Kevin De Bruyne show this weekend. I've got a feeling that KDB has been prepped for this game. I think.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, I've got a feeling. I thought he was okay, like, during the international break. I think I said it on here. Like, I'm told that, like, he's now able to play, like, prolonged periods of a game. And I even wondered whether he might start that first game back. Didn't happen. But then what did happen, I noticed, and I wasn't convinced about this at the time, but when I saw Pep's lineup last weekend, I was like, he's got one eye on the Champions League, because I know that there are players not playing here that could be playing. And he's scared that Man City are not going to automatically qualify for the Champions League and they're going to have to play some extra games they really don't need right now.
Two-legged game in Feb, isn't it? The stage before those that get top 8.
Right. So it kind of proved to be true, because there was a couple of players that played in that Champions League game, particularly Mateus Nunez, who I think should have played in the Premier League and didn't. And I just got a feeling that Kevin De Bruyne is now ready to play.
What does that mean for Haaland? I mean, it's very good for Haaland. It's very good for for City, right? Like, if he's on the pitch. But we haven't seen him play more than, 30 minutes? I think we've seen like a 25 or 30.
Time. Yeah, and he got 22 minutes against Feyenoord, yeah. And his
similar
time
in the Prem.
Against Tottenham was 16, yeah. So this is like...
Is he ready for 45? 60? I mean...
I've just got a feeling, mate. I just think that they're so up against it. Like, Rico Lewis needs a rest. Gundogan needs a rest. Let's be honest, there's more than that need a rest. Vardy could really do with coming out of this team for a bit and just, like, getting some time out. Obviously, very difficult.
Do you reckon it was him that decked Pep in the dressing room?
Poor old Pep, mate. Just as well he hasn't had too much turmoil to go through in football. If that's how he looks just after one stretch of bad results, isn't it?
Because that fat lip looked like and the nose looked like a punch in the face. I know he was scratching his forehead and he was seen doing that, but when you scratch your forehead, you tend not to get a fat lip.
But he did have the cut on his... By the end of the game, as they were like managers were shaking hands, Pep already had the cut along here.
Yeah, but the fat lip.
Yeah.
And the bruising on the head as well. Like, it wasn't scratches and bruises on the head. I mean,
Yeah, exactly that. Lewis says KDB's been back in training 5 weeks and not played more than 23 minutes in any game. Strange. It's because he's playing against Liverpool. Like,
yeah.
this is, KDB, they've got to be careful with him, right? They've got to make sure that he's ready for when they need him. And there is no time. They have to avoid complete humiliation this weekend. And Kevin De Bruyne not only lets them do that, he could give them the chance to pull off a result that absolutely nobody is expecting right now. But yeah, so in terms of like assets for this Man City v Liverpool game, where are you feeling on Haaland? I mean, you're going to keep him,
I'm
right?
not. I don't think I am. I don't think I am. I don't think I'm keeping him.
I would.
And obviously, I really want to keep Haaland. Like I'm not selling Haaland for 1 minute, thinking he's going to continue this run. I know Haaland's going to start scoring goals very, very soon. I expect him to score versus Liverpool. I expect him to score a couple against Nottingham Forest in game week 14 when I'd probably captain him if I owned him. But I also think Mo Salah's going to score lots of goals, and I can't have both. I can have both, but if I go for both, I just have no money left over to go. I've got Palmer already, and I'm not selling Palmer. I want to get Saka over Christmas. I want double Arsenal defence over Christmas. Right. Haaland limits me. I also know if I sell Haaland, I get a really other good forward. Like, not only do I get Salah, but I get a forward that is a third of the price of Haaland, and he's actually also going to score goals too in João Pedro. And that's the problem. There's so many good forwards. He's eaten up a valuable spot, which is fine because he'll produce more points than them. But will he produce enough to warrant 15 million? Will he be my captain every week? No and no.
Yeah, no, I totally understand what you're saying. And this is the conundrum because of his price point in the game. And, anyone that's doing particularly well in the game seems to have jumped off Haaland early and invested that extra cash somewhere else and had Mo Salah. So that's been the thing. I mean, I'm glad that I was a Salah owner because my rank would be way down from what it is right now. So I did take that Haaland decision too. And I obviously am pleased with it. I don't know that I've necessarily got the right forward assets in place. My forwards as it stands are Isak, Welbeck and Wood. Welbeck to João Pedro is possible. Isak, I'm not happy with him from Monday. We've got a bit of tension between Alex Isak and me at the moment because whenever I pick him, he just somehow manages to not score a goal. So I was a bit upset with him against West Ham. But
he's going to come good though, and he had the chances, didn't he? West Ham. I know they won the game, and a few would be like, "Oh, West Ham have turned the corner." FPL fella can let us know his thoughts, but I still fancy Arsenal to batter West Ham. Like Newcastle with a better team. Like West Ham, it was ugly, but
it was also West Ham's best performance of the season, though. And I know that's not saying a lot because that's
not
that good. But I think it's you'd have to assume that Arsenal can batter.
Yeah, like Saka's a legit captain.
Yeah.
Mate, when we look at the captain, we'll get to captaincy maybe when Big Man gets here and we'll rank them, but there's so many good options. But just to go back to Haaland briefly, just saw a tweet this morning from good friend Late Riser. Many of you will follow him. Over the last 3 weeks, if you owned Salah and captained him, plus Cunha, i.e. everyone that bought Salah sold Haaland, and most of them sold Haaland for Cunha, in 3 weeks, captain Salah plus Cunha, 106 points. In the same 3 weeks, captain Haaland, and then instead of Salah in midfield, you've got, say, Rodgers, who's been the popular sort of 7th, 8th attacker. Collection of points over 3 weeks, 21. 85 points different. 85 points difference in 3 weeks from going captain Salah and Cunha or captain Haaland and Rodgers. Obviously, I've been captain Haaland and Rodgers.
Yeah.
85.
That's
85
huge.
is monstrous, isn't it? That is season defying in 3 weeks.
Yeah. I mean, that's hard to come back from as well, points deficit like that. That is really significant. I mean, you've had a bit of bad luck so far this season, mate, and I do hope that it turns a little bit in your favour soon. But that is, you just can't foresee that coming. And for Haaland to be in a moment like this is just unthinkable, really. For Man City to be in this moment is unthinkable. And it's been a weird season, and that's why it's probably made the game more interesting, especially for casuals. For content creators, I mean, it's just a disaster. I mean, because the unpredictability of it all is just so tough to know. And even this week, when you're saying, well, we have got all these other assets that we can turn to in attack, it's so hard because there's like 5 or 6 that are
Yeah.
actually pretty decent assets. Getting the right ones week on week is difficult. Like I said, I keep just missing the boat. I'll get Wood at the wrong time, or Welbeck, or Isak, or I should have gone to Cunha, or I should have gone to Vista at some point, and I didn't. And this is where you end up, and you keep kind of chasing your own tail.
I'm going to shut my door because the chat are going mental on my dog. They can hear him. I didn't realise my mic would pick up that noise. He's miles away. But I'm going to go shut my door. Mate, talk to me about the budget forwards then. The budget Brazilians, if you can only get one this week, let's talk João Pedro and Cunha. And then also the mid-price forwards, because Jackson, Isak are popular. And that's actually someone at my door. I need to go. I'll be back in a minute.
Cool. I'm interested in the chat. Let me know what you think on this as well, because obviously, yes, so I've got Danny Welbeck at the moment. There you go, full screen of Jesus' empty room. I've got Danny Welbeck. I'm aware that that's not the best striker option this week. Brighton are playing Southampton at home. Welbeck could score in that game. That's very feasible. Should I just be changing him to Pedro? Or should I go Cunha? Or am I missing something else here? Like, I'm really interested to know what you think in the chat as to what I should be doing with that play. Because I actually think Isak, Welbeck and Wood isn't that bad for this week. I really don't think it's that bad. But I also know that it could be better. I'm just scared of getting Welbeck, and he has one of those weeks where he does pretty well. So I'm just going to look at his minutes, actually, in terms of what he's produced. Sorry, not his minutes, his points. So in the last 2 games, when I've owned Danny Welbeck, he's got a 2-point and a 2-point. Before that, it was a stretch of 5, 7, 9, 8, and that's what had convinced me to get back on him after earlier in the season. He had a little good run of points as well. So I thought, good value pick. I'll get in there. Let's read what some of you are saying about it. Pedro over Cunha for me, says Matt. Ofcor thinks it's a bit of a sideway move because Welbeck can still score. Absolutely agree. Woodstock says Wood to Cunha. Would Ipswich at home? I don't know. Yeah, that one's tough as well. CH regrets selling Welbeck. Wood, Cunha, and Pedro up front for Joseph. Yeah, I mean that's a great front three. I think that's a really good selection of assets, and that doesn't really cost that much money either, which I think is really interesting, Joseph. Like that is. Wood, Cunha and Pedro is like a great budget selection that's all going to potentially bang. Harry thinks I should keep Welbeck. Do I think Trent starts? I don't know. Let me give him a minute to think about Trent.
Slot did say he's ready to start, but ready to start and will start are 2 different things.
I mean, again, kind of the case of the Kevin De Bruyne's, those are the players that you want ready for that game. And obviously, I know Liverpool just had a big game against Real Madrid, but it was always unlikely that Trent was going to be fully ready for that one. It wouldn't surprise me, actually, though, if Trent did come back into that. I've just been trying to get advice from people whether I move Welbeck or Wood onto somebody like a Cunha or a Pedro, and I really can't decide. Obviously, both have got really good fixtures this week, Welbeck and Wood. So is it worth selling? Like, is it worth trading them for a Cunha or a Pedro, knowing that they're not far off the same goal-scoring chances anyway?
I don't know. Cunha and Pedro are definitely the faces of the game week for a very good reasons with the fixtures. But then, I don't know. I mean, players like Wood, I'm seeing people selling Wood to Pedro for a 4-point hit. And I'm like, Wood's got Ipswich.
Well, he was sub last week, wasn't he?
Yeah, but coming back from New Zealand, like, what we shouldn't expect him to start.
I'm going to say, are we comfortable that that's...
He's got to be with his record this season for what he's done for you. Also, the fixture. To be fair, you're going away against Arsenal. You're not going to have the ball much. You got to chase. You got to like Awani's probably going to do a better job than Wood for that particular fixture.
Okay.
So it made sense. I honestly, I wasn't surprised at all, and I will eat my hat if Chris Wood does not start on the weekend. Like I promise you guys, if he's fit, he's starting. I'm that big on it.
Yeah.
Awani has not shown us enough to take Chris Wood's spot in that team. Not yet, anyway. Big man, welcome. How are you, mate?
Hi, Gianni. Hi, Dean. Hello, welcome to all the listeners and viewers. Yes, I agree with you when you said that Wood will start. Actually, it was mentioned by Nuno in the post-match press conference after Arsenal that he was pretty much rested because of his exploits with New Zealand. I think this is a game which is tailor-made for him, and there should be a week where he does well.
Yeah, that's comforting to know. So Wood will definitely be staying in my team. Yeah. What do you think, big man, on the Cunha, João Pedro discussion dilemma that everybody's got at the moment? Like, what's your ranking for your top value?
I just think I've been sort of fairly vocal and clear on it all week. I think I prefer João Pedro because of his price. I don't think there's much between them in terms of, let's say, points potential. But because João Pedro at this point is like 1.3 million cheaper, if I'm not wrong, and the fixtures, the short-term fixtures, I think for João Pedro are slightly better. And Brighton I rate as a higher tag than Wolves anyway. So yeah, I think I'd go with João Pedro. The stats indicate that his XGI per 90 is actually better than Cunha as well. So yeah, just the carrot of the Southampton fixture this week is enough for me to jump on. I've already done Calvert-Lewin to João Pedro, and it was a Saturday night transfer, which is very unusual for me. But yeah, first one of the season for me.
Well, you're paying 0.2 less for João Pedro. You paid
0.3
less than
DCL fell.
Over who fell?
DCL.
Oh, DCL. Okay, so you made 0.3, but in terms of your price for João Pedro, you're 0.2. You're paying 0.2 more than I'm paying. I'm buying him today, for example, and you've got him for 0.2 cheaper, which is pretty cool. I wouldn't.
You're selling for Haaland, right?
I think so.
But Pedro was. But the Brighton press conference was yesterday, and Pedro was fit. So you weren't sure on the decision, I assume, which is why you sort of waited overnight, because we knew he was going to rise yesterday.
I did. I went to bed last night saying I'm going to do it, and because I could see the price rise, and I just couldn't do it. Selling Haaland for João Pedro is a huge thing for me, seeing as I've carried Haaland in the last few weeks, and I was like, I need another 12 hours to think about this. And I also don't know what's going to come up in the press conferences that could affect other moves. Like, let's say we were to hear today, I don't know, Salah's got an injury we didn't know about. It's like that disrupts my whole planning. So yes, I knew João Pedro was good, but I just needed that more info. And for the 0.1, it's not like I had the exact funds anyway. So yeah. I was willing to eat.
I can see you tearing up inside here, mate. This is absolutely breaking your brain, isn't it? Let's just take a break for a second. Let's give some love to all our super chatters, because we got money coming in here, lads. This is looking good. Thank you very much to everyone that supports us, especially if it's got financially involvement. Like that's unbelievable. Let's start with Solar Wind, £2. Thank you very much. Strand Larson or Isak to João Pedro for -4, or neither?
I wouldn't be selling Isak. Like, no way. Strand Larsen's got the fixtures, but we do see time and again, if you want a Wolves attacker, Strand Larsen cannot cover Cunha. He might be the number 9, but he ain't the one getting all the FPL points. So if you really want João Pedro, it'd be Strand Larsen out if you're set on that move. Personally, I'd probably keep them both and not bother taking the -4. But Solar Wind, it sounds like you're set on that.
Yeah, it does sound set, but yeah, I agree. I'd be tempted to stay. Thanks for the super chat. Let's move on to Sean's. G, do you think Cole Palmer gets rested for midweek?
Oh my God, absolutely not. This is
I
a
thought
guy.
I missed something here. There's no chances there.
The guy that gets all the midweek rests when they're playing Europe. When they play in the Premier League, he's going to be fresh and he's going to play 90. By the way,
he's already had a week's rest.
Yes, great. Both Gusto and Pedro Neto are back in training. They weren't risked on Thursday night. Those two back in the team, I think, are good for Cole Palmer. And let me just briefly tell you guys why. If Pedro Neto doesn't start, it will probably be João Felix. João Felix on the left-hand side, as we saw it last time out, isn't great for Palmer because he drifts in a lot. He doesn't stay on the touchline and he eats into Palmer's space. Gusto's addition to the team also affects where Enzo plays. You might know, how does that happen? Trust me, it does. When Gusto plays as a right back and inverts, he takes up central position areas. And often from the central players, let's say Caicedo, Lavia, Gusto's the most advanced. Like, he's the one popping into the sort of playmaker role at times when he inverts. When Enzo's in the team, he likes to also take that role. If it's a midfield two of Caicedo, Enzo, and Gusto starting, I think we'll see Gusto at times ahead of Enzo, which again is a good thing, because what does Enzo do? As we saw last time, he likes to drift into the same areas as Cole Palmer too. I want Cole Palmer having time and space. And Enzo doesn't always allow that, and João Felix doesn't always allow that.
Yeah, I just want Cole Palmer to start getting some points again, because he's absolutely dried up.
We'll get to captaincy in a minute then, because I think that takes us on to captaincy after this super chat.
Okay, cool. Right, David asks Mikalenko and Bruno to Timber and Palmer. Is that worth a -8? God, there's not much in this game that's worth a -8, is there? Is that one of them?
Big man?
I think this depends on, like, for example, if he's starting Mikalenko, then Timber is obviously a big upgrade, but he's effectively throwing away 4 points for a potential clean sheet that he might get with Timber. Palmer, I guess, in my opinion, is probably the optimal captain this week, but selling Bruno for -4, I think there has to be another route. I think there has to be another
That
route.
would scare me. That would scare me, that transfer.
What did you make of Bruno's position last night, Dean? Because he was playing in the midfield too quite a bit. And Amorim has said, like, playing in the number 10 with his back to goal isn't good for Bruno. If he's going to start playing Bruno in the midfield too, prime Andrea Pirlo spraying passes, he ain't going to be an FPL asset, or not a great one.
Not as good a one, perhaps, but then he's still got the capability to score from range. He'll still be on free kicks.
And he will still get points, but
he'll still get
not
points.
where we want him.
I mean, obviously, this is just a very good fixture, like, potentially. So, like the Amorim factor, like, there's going to be such a feel-good factor around the stadium for this one. You do imagine they win this game like 2-0, and I would imagine that Bruno is among the goals in some way or other. Another super chat has come in from Willis. Thank you very much.
What's going on? I just did a 45-minute stream on my channel, not a single bloody penny.
Really? Oh, mate. This is where we all come rich, look.
No channel members, no gifted, no super chats.
Mate. Sorry to hear that. He says Haaland, McNeil to Cunha and Saka already has João Pedro and Salah. So try to say it in Haaland, McNeil to Cunha and Saka.
I think yes. If he has Palmer, though, if he doesn't have Palmer, then I think I'd prioritize Palmer over Saka.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I would go Palmer over Saka. The Chelsea fixtures are insane. So let's go on to captaincy then, because Saka, Palmer. Oh, thanks, and so
wow. What's going on today?
Is it Thanksgiving? Is that what it is? Are you guys all from America?
Thank you.
Yeah, before you got here, everyone was gifting each other memberships. They were all giving each other love. Like, and now we're getting people giving money. Unbelievable vibes over here today.
3 or 4. I think we have 4 gifted memberships.
I mean, I can only thank people for their love and support.
It's unbelievable. There's 400 of you watching. Please do like and subscribe and tell your neighbours to come and watch us as well if you like.
So captaincy poll, it's hard doing 4. How do we even pick 4? Like, it's got to be Salah, Palmer. They're the 2 obvious. But then you could argue Mbeumo. You could argue João Pedro. You could argue Saka. You could argue Bruno. Like, you could argue Haaland.
Wood.
Yeah, Wood against Ipswich. Yeah, like, you genuinely could.
You're probably not going to do it. But, yeah, at the moment in my team, it's between Salah and Mbeumo. That's kind of I've shifted it between the two of them to see which I like the look of the best in the last couple of days, and I still don't know which one it's going to end up on. Salah just feels like a less risky pick, and I'm just like don't want to lose out to people. But Mbeumo feels like the better pick.
I was on Mbeumo at one point this week, but the Van Nistelrooy appointment, I know he's not going to be in charge, but just his presence and the fact they've announced him and he's in the stadium, don't know.
Yeah.
I expect Brentford to win still, don't get me wrong, but I just think the ceiling is maybe a little bit lower for Brentford. If it was managers Leicester, I like that narrative a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, Brentford are the best home team in the league. They are literally top of the league when it comes to home form. Better than Liverpool. Played 6, won 5, drawn 1. They've scored 18 goals at home so far, Brentford. So they are... This is where their bread and butter. Like, this is a good fixture and one that they typically are eating up. And there's not been much we can trust this season from anyone in terms of form and trends. But Brentford at home has been one of the most trustworthy elements in the game. So that's a real one to follow. And Leicester, obviously, like their away form, as you would expect, has not been very good. They're right down there where they would expect to be, really, given how the season's gone generally. So, yeah, new manager bounce, kind of. But Yeah, I don't know. I don't know which way to go on it. It's almost a toss of a coin between Salah and Mbeumo for me.
Honestly, this poll, I was like Palmer, Salah, and Burmo, and then I was thinking, who should be the fourth? Is it a João Pedro? Is it Saka? We've got João Pedro in there, and it could, get voting, guys. I'm really interested to see where you're going. As Dean's just put a really good case forward there from Burmo. I was kind of 60-40 between Palmer and Burmo, and kind of have been all week. They're the only two I've actually been looking at. João Pedro, I think, is an awesome option if we knew he was going to get 90 minutes. I do like to know my captain's on the pitch 90 minutes. And I just don't think João Pedro will get it. I expect him to be subbed at like 75. This is a guy that's been out injured a while. He's not played 90 since like game week 3. Big man, where are you at the moment, and how confident are you on that player?
I think this is a week where you can afford to go different on captaincy because there's such fine margins between them that you can make a case for either. For example, you guys have talked about Mbeumo. Brentford's home form is really good. I think they've especially against the bottom 10, I think they won practically the significant majority of games in let's say the past 1 year or so. So I'd expect them to beat Leicester irrespective of the manager. So yeah, Mbeumo's fine. Salah's nice. Obviously, we know how City are struggling defensively. Palmer is fine because of Villa's form and because Palmer's been rested in midweek and Villa have had a grueling midweek. I think I'm personally going with Palmer. Simply because of that. And I've seen Ake do a bit of a job on Salah in recent times. So I'm hoping that his ceiling won't be as big as expected. I'd still expect him to get a goal, but it doesn't exactly scream a hat trick to me. I might be wrong, but even the bookmakers are sort of split in their assessment because Salah's 60% ranked to score or assist, and almost 62%. Palmer 67, Saka's close to 55, Bruno's also 55. I assume Bruno's not exactly in the conversation anymore because of his deeper role last night. Yeah. But yeah, I think even the likes of João Pedro, let's say Wood, Cunha, I mean, these guys are in the conversation, but I personally feel that realistically it's got to be between Palmer, Salah, and Mbeumo. I think these three are quite clear of the rest in terms of their expected points.
Okay, should we rank them then? Should we do our top threes? Go on, Dean.
I would go with
you love a ranking. Or big man, if you're ready, if you've got your ranking already sorted, give Dean 30 seconds to think about it.
Yeah, go.
Yeah, Palmer and Mbeumo, Salah in that order.
You'd have Palmer as your top?
Yeah.
See, I'd have it the other way. I think Palmer would be my third because I just haven't got that trust element with him.
Are you sure? Because had Palmer scored last week, that open goal, would we be having this conversation? Because I sort of get the feeling that Salah will be mass captain because there will be a bit of recency bias because City just conceded 3 against Feyenoord in the last 15 minutes. Salah's been smashing it over the past 3 weeks. If Palmer had scored against Leicester, that shot that Madueke blocked, I think it would be more of a close call. But I think Salah's more popular just because of things which have happened recently.
Yeah, I just worry about how Palmer keeps getting locked up. I just hasn't got the goal potential that he had. And I'm looking for players that can score 2 goals here, and I just think that I'm not convinced of Palmer.
Why is he getting locked up, Dean?
I don't know. Is
it a Maresca thing? Because under Poch, it was give the ball to Palmer and go win us the football match. It's not the same function in attack anymore. And
they play more down the flanks, don't they? They're using the flanks differently, and that means
the wingers stay wide.
They do stay wide, and they were too heavily dependent on Cole Palmer last season. There's no doubt about that. It was ridiculous.
It was unhealthy. It was an unhealthy obsession.
It was unsustainable. I think is probably what it was. As good a player as he is, I still think that I would have Mbeumo and Salah ahead of him in a captaincy ranking.
I've got Palmer at 1 as well.
Oh, no,
I get your reservations. I get it, but I just think with Villa, for me, it's just about leggy Villa versus Juve. They have to put so much effort in the Champions League, Villa, because they're unlikely to be in the Champions League next season. They've not been in it for a very long time. The amount of energy they must spend in terms of prep, in terms of commitment on the pitch. They obviously play the first 11. Chelsea, meanwhile, play a second 11. Loads of the first team aren't even in the squad, including Cole Palmer. And I just think they go into that game, again, it's at Stamford Bridge in very different positions. So this is more the matchup I like. Villa with their high line. My only concern is Enzo. Enzo played so well last time out. I expect him to start alongside Caicedo in the middle. Enzo in the middle isn't good for Palmer. He tries he drifts into the sort of 10 role far too much, especially in games when you're dominating possession. My hope is we won't quite dominate 70% of possession like we did last time out, and therefore we want at 55% possession. And Villa will keep Enzo quite deep, and that gives Palmer space in the number 10 role.
Yeah.
So I'm going Palmer 1. Number 2 is João Pedro now. And 3 is Mbeumo. I don't have Salah in my top 3.
Wow.
Yet you're buying him this week.
No, I'm buying him, and I don't want him to score points because he's going to be over 100% EO. And I'm literally
FPL is such a stupid game. Such a stupid game.
I'm literally ripping up my team to buy Salah this week, and I
don't even think he's that good.
Option. Yeah.
FPL Freddy says Palmer has blanked in half his games this season,
but when he bangs big.
Dan says Salah is streets ahead. He's been so reliable for points, and he's up against a completely out of form Gvardiol. That's quite a good point. I'm not sure why Man City like City also talk about high lines. Like City need to stop this. Like when they haven't got the protection from the midfield and the legs in the midfield in front of them, they're still playing that high. To get down on that third goal the other day was absolutely crazy. So yeah, I can totally see that being a mismatch if indeed Gvardiol does start up against Salah. Chris's ranking is Pedro 1, Palmer 2, and Mbeumo 3, Salah 4. So he's a bit of a team G there.
That's me. Yeah. Who said that?
Chris Marshall.
Oh, man. Yes, Chris. Same 4. Snap.
Yeah, FPL Amateur says Mbeumo, Palmer, and Haaland. So we haven't talked about at all.
We do need to talk about Haaland, don't we?
Probably a good idea.
Honestly, one thing that I'd like to sort of add here is that, we're ranking the captains, but honestly, the margins are so slim that I think people should just go with their gut. This is not like any other week where the captain is stand out and, one is absolutely clear of the other. We all could be easily wrong. And as you can see, all 3 of us have our rankings vastly different. So nobody knows anything. It's basically going to come down to luck at the end of the day. So if you're feeling to go for a differential, then by all means go for it. I think this is the week to do it. Because after this week, I don't think there will be too many opportunities, at least in the next 2 or 3 weeks.
How do you feel about the fact that Brighton are playing in a minute, basically?
That's going to make people go João Pedro. They get excited. People say don't back the early kickoff, and I get it, but Saturday morning kickoffs are a very different vibe to a Friday night. Saturday morning, you don't want to back it because it's like you've got a day of football ahead of you. Friday night, you're like, oh, I'm going to sit down on the sofa, have a beer in front of the telly on a Friday night. I don't get to do that very often. I might give him the armband because I'm watching the game live. Very different attitudes. We'll get a load that changed their opinion at 5:45 today. And go João Pedro.
Yeah, it's obviously such a good start. If he scores 2 goals and you've got the armband on him, you're going into the weekend so happy. If he blanks, though, that's not a good feeling to be going into.
Brighton are going to absolutely go mad, though, aren't they? Brighton is scoring 3 goals tonight.
I don't know, mate. I keep predicting things like this in the Premier League, and the complete opposite happens. So I would imagine so. I think this is one of the most trustworthy fixtures of the weekend. I really do. And if you're going to look at it logically, then yeah, absolutely. You can't give
predictions.
3-0.
Put your prediction in the chat, everyone. Get
3-0
up on screen.
I've been impressed by Southampton going forward. Their attack isn't that bad, actually. I think they'll probably make a goal. Brighton's defense is all right. They're 15, 16 for XG conceded this season, which isn't great, to be very honest. So I'd expect Southampton to score, but yeah, I'd probably go 2-1 Brighton. That's what I reckon. I think Southampton will score, probably.
FPL Freddy's a Southampton fan. He's gone 1-3 with a dibbling hat-trick. Spot the guy that lives in Dorset, the Southampton fan there. Fella reckons 4-0 Brighton. Geddy reckons 5-0. Wow. Bill 3-1. Love that. 5-2. We're going to see goals, is what you lot think. Big man, before we see our teams, let's talk about captaincy. Guys, if you are watching for the first time and you're new around here, because trust me, there's a fair few watching for the first time today, hit that subscribe button because we're going to give away at least 5 channel memberships if we get to 20 subs in this stream. We've already had 5. We need 15 of you to click the subscribe button. I've got no doubt we'll get there. And then we'll give away a minimum of 5 channel memberships. With those memberships, you have to be subscribed to be able to win it. So if you are watching for the first time, hit that button and And yeah, you could have a little treat at the end of the show. But big man, Haaland, if you own him and Salah, what do you do with Haaland? If you own Haaland but not Salah, what do you do with Haaland? Because I think they're two different questions.
I think I would sell Haaland in either case, simply because going forward, the structure that I have in mind, or the structure that I would need, would have at least two of Salah, Palmer, and Saka, if not all three. And if you have Haaland, then picking Palmer also becomes problematic, because then it sort of really impacts the rest of your squad and it gets really weak. So I think Haaland is a sell either way. Yes, he can score a hat-trick in every week. And this is the exact caveat that we've been sort of dishing out over the past 5 or 6 game weeks. But yeah, I mean, just relative for his price, it's just not offering value for money, because even if he scores once, he's not going to be good value. You need him to be the clear optimal captaincy choice in the weeks to come, which he isn't, because Salah and Palmer rotate pretty well for captaincy.
Well said. Dean, what do you think?
I just think we've reached the point where everyone's realising you can live without Haaland. I just think that we've just got there, and I think it's just going to become, until a moment comes, if Man City completely turn around their season, I just think you can kind of turn your back on him and not worry as much about it. I mean, the worry was that if you didn't have Haaland as captain, then you were dead for the week. And it's not going to be the case anymore, because not enough people own him, and even if you do own him, probably not going to be brave enough to captain him for a game like this. So, yeah, it's interesting. Look, we've got another super chat in. Taylor, which I presume is not my wife, but another Taylor, $4.99. We can't afford that sort of money to be given away, you see, in my household. This would not be her. Says, currently captaining Saka over Palmer and Salah. I'm most confident Arsenal will win out of the 3. Do you guys think that's a sufficient deciding factor? I mean, it's interesting. I'd seen this tweet and I haven't checked it. So tell me if it's wrong, but it was from FPL Goat and it was on my timeline yesterday, and I've just got it back up. It says Saka's home and away record this season: at home, 6 games, 4 goals, 5 assists, 59 points. Away from home, 5 games, 0 goals, 3 assists, 21 points. Pretty stark.
Yeah, it was pretty similar last season as well. It has been the case with Saka over a sustained period of time. We were sort of briefly discussing this, and me and Gianni both sort of came to the conclusion that Arsenal have had a midweek. We don't necessarily see too many goals in this game, because West Ham will basically park the bus. And I think it's going to be a win to nil for Arsenal, maybe 1 or 2-0. And that's what me and G sort of discussed last time. So I just don't think the ceiling is there when it comes to the number of goals that Arsenal are going to score. I think they will win, but I don't see it being a 4-0 or 5-0 or a big win.
I mean, the deciding factor there from Taylor is not one I use much, if I'm completely honest with captain. There's a lot of variables with captains. We can look at players' form. We can look at matchups on the pitch. We can look at form against that opponent. I like home and away a lot. I always prefer backing the home guy where possible. Obviously, this is Saka away, and there's a lot of good home options this week. But I don't necessarily look at the team winning. I look at my team scoring goals. Like, are Arsenal going to score more than Chelsea and Liverpool? That's the question. I don't care if Liverpool and Chelsea lose the football matches if I think they're going to score 3 goals. So it doesn't come down to the win, loss, or draw. It comes down to how many goals my team will score is usually the deciding factor in that category, i.e. team performance. But look, I wouldn't be surprised if Saka outscored the 2 you mentioned. I think Saka's a really good captaincy option this week too. They did just get to Lisbon and score 5 goals, you know.
They did. And now that Odegaard's back, like, he's got someone that is really on his wavelength, and you're kind of remembering with every week that comes, like, what a difference Odegaard makes to this team. And I still don't know, like, in FPL terms that you want Odegaard, but, like, in terms of it improving other assets around him, it absolutely works. Even go as far to say that Martinelli is starting to become a little bit more interesting at the moment. His last couple of outings, he's taking his chances, but that's something he hasn't been doing enough across this season. But the last couple of games, we've seen that Martinelli is making the most of the big chances when they come. So yes, Saka will improve because Odegaard's there, but I think also there are other players in that team that are also becoming.
Should we see our teams? Guys, hit that like button if you fancy. teams we've got decisions to make. Usually we say, oh, we're still not sure because, it's got 24 hours. Well, we've only got like 4 hours. Dean, what are you thinking? You got a free transfer, 0.1 in the bank.
Yeah, so mainly it's just this forward dilemma. Like I probably am on the wrong Brighton player in attack. It should probably be João Pedro.
I don't mind Welbs.
I know, this is the thing. It's like, it's going to be so annoying if I do transfer him out for João Pedro and Welbeck scores. But equally, I'll be annoyed if the other opposite happens. So, apart from get rid of Chris Wood and sign João Pedro and go with 2 Brighton players up front, I'm not really sure what I can do about that, especially as Wood's got an equally good fixture at home that I don't want to be missing. So I'm tempted to just stick, if I'm honest. I don't know. I honestly don't know if I'll use this transfer at the moment.
Yeah, I don't think you need to. And if Gabriel doesn't play, you might want to swap Kirkez and Dean round on your bench because I do like Kirkez coming in. But other than that, mate, you're well set. Captaincy, though, you think you'll stick there? We discussed that. And Wood, I think, is a proper nice differential. So many have been selling Wood in the last couple of weeks. FPL Fella says 100% roll, Dino, and I'm with you there. I just remembered my dream from last night was with Danny Welbeck's mum was in it. And I've just pictured it was literally Danny Welbeck in a wig and it was his mum. And I'm trying to piece together the rest of that dream. So
What's wrong with you?
Honestly.
What's wrong with you?
Honestly, yeah. Big man, what do you reckon? Should Dean roll?
I think the team looks good to roll. I sort of agree with the consensus that it should be a team to roll. I'm sort of curious to hear your thoughts on Brennan Johnson, though. Do you think he starts at the weekend? Because the fixture is still good. He scored last night.
I know.
But you'd expect Kulusevski and Maddison to start instead, I assume?
It's literally Johnson or Mads. And if Mads starts, then it's Kulu on the right.
I didn't watch the Tottenham game yesterday.
Good goal from Brennan. Good goal.
Is it? Yeah, it's strange. Maddison obviously took his chance very well to play against Man City last week. Do we have faith that he's going to be starting every game from here? I don't necessarily think that's the case. I think, obviously, he started the season really well, Maddison. Then he fell away a bit, and Tottenham went through this sticky patch too. And there was this notion that him and Kulusevski can't play in the same team from the start, etc., etc. They do it against Man City, but because Man City don't have those legs in midfield, because we knew that was their flaw, Maddison was able to find the gaps that we knew could be exposed. And as weird as it sounds, Fulham are actually better in that area of the field than Man City are at the moment. So I think
Mads was rested last night, though. Surely Maddison can't score a brace for City and not start. I think
that's the thing, isn't it? It would be very harsh to then leave him out for the next 2 fixtures after he's done that. Anyway, Johnson's on my bench at the moment, and he's probably.
I might buy Kulu, by the way. He might be my Burma replacement because out of the 3 of them, or out of any Spurs attacker, the one that will play 90 minutes every week when fit is Kulu. He is absolutely Andrew's boy, and he's like 6.3. I think he becomes a really good FPL option.
Well, Fulham are hard to break down, right? And that's why it's going to take something smart to do it. So it could be Kulu, and it might even be that Maddison starts. But then if you can bring Brennan on, then that could be a big factor in finally wearing Fulham down if the game starts to go that way. So, interesting to see which way that goes.
Before we see Big Man's team, should we just have a very quick chat on Solanke? Because there's a few questions in the chat. I mentioned Solanke. He's fine, by the way. He had a few issues last night, but Postecoglou said he carries on. He'll be fine, a bit sore. I wanted a rest, if I'm honest. I think a lot of managers wanted a rest. I look at Solanke's points. That's 16 pointers doing a ton of heavy lifting. Other than that, his biggest FPL score is 6. And I know some of the underlying data is there. And I know Spurs score a lot of goals. I know he's number 9. But even last night, I watched the game. I'm like, I don't want him in my team long. I think Solanke is a bang average FPL option this season in this Spurs team. Big man?
Yeah, I think I have a different opinion, actually, because I think Solanke is exactly the sort of player, 90-minute man, playing for a great attack, fixture-proof attack, who's likely to... he's not exactly explosive, but I think he's likely to take along with the points over the course of the season. And I'm happy having that at 7.5 million. His price is all right. It's not as if you're paying like 9 million, 9.5 for someone.
He's not on pens anymore, though, is he? You thought he was going to be on pens.
No, I thought there was an outside chance he was on pens. I always expected Son to be on pens. But Yeah, I mean, if he's doing well, then Son is the kind of guy who could give a penalty away if, let's say, Solanke is on a hat trick. But in most weeks, I assume that he won't be. But irrespective of that, 7.5 million, I'm fine with him. And the fixtures aren't that bad. I mean, we pretty much expect Spurs to score in most games anyway.
Fair point. I own him, and I'm looking to offload him soonish. But
I just think with when you look at a lot of people's teams, they have so many problems in the rest of the squad with their defense, with their attack. For example, Calvert-Lewin was an issue. Bruno Fernandes might become an issue if he's playing deeper. The defense we've had, the City defense is struggling. We've had injuries to Trent, and so people have plenty of other fires to put out in the rest of their team as opposed to selling a solid option like Solanke. That's not something I would advocate for.
yeah, that's fair. Okay, big man. Let's see talk through the rest of your team because you've got cash.
Yeah, I mean, I made my early transfer. I got João Pedro in for Calvert-Lewin. I don't think I'll be doing anything apart from that. I'll probably have Dunk as first sub. I'm just not sure whether he starts or not. And I think Raul is a fine player to play over him anyway. If we get news that Dunk is starting before the deadline, then I might sort of change my mind. But for now, I think this is going to be my team. And yeah, I think I'm already eyeing up a move from Bruno to Saka next week, if I'm being honest, especially after what I saw last night. If Bruno's playing as a deeper 6 or 8, I really don't want him in my team because then effectively you're relying on penalties every game. And I suspect that might be the case going forward, which doesn't exactly bode that well for him.
Yeah, I like that. Have you got any concern over Rodgers being your 8th attacker and therefore next week when he's got Brentford and week after Southampton, 2 home games, you might have to be on your bench again? And same with me. I might be moving towards that. And I'm like, it's probably fine because we'll get some rotation. But when you look at the big dogs in your team, like very few of them are going to miss that game because they're key cogs in their team. They'll just play 90 minutes every week. So are you happy having Rodgers first sub? That's that structure.
This week, especially, he rotates really well with Raul, right? So that's why I'm happy keeping Raul as well, because I'm sort of keeping a flexible hybrid system formation where I can play one of Rodgers or Raul every week.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. And the armband, give us a percentage number that you'll stick on Palmer.
I think it's close to 90%. I don't think I'll switch.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. That's where I'm at. Same. I think I'm 95, ish. I'm set. Okay. I like the idea of Saka from Bruno. If you haven't got the funds to do in Burr mode Saka, if you'd be a little bit short. But with 2 free transfers, you could go in Burr mode Saka and keep Bruno if you like.
I have 2.2 million in the bank, so I can't go from Mbeumo to Saka. And the thing is, we sort of touched upon this briefly in our previous stream, Gianni, as well, that both Mbeumo and Bruno have relatively tough fixtures going forward. But I think I might as well keep Mbeumo because there are no threats over his at least starting position. There are no doubts over his starting role as to where he's playing. We know that he's going to be playing up front or on the wing. Bruno could be playing deeper. Plus, Mbeumo's much cheaper, right? So Mbeumo's like sort of cheaper to hold, and he could be more of a long-term hold because I'm not sure whether Bruno is a long-term hold, but Mbeumo, I'm pretty sure I would want later in the season, even if I sell.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. Dean, what's your take on that United attack and Ahmad at 4.9? Think he'll continue playing wing back?
Well, he's going to continue to be in the team, and I think at the moment, we're trying to figure out who Amorim likes, which experiments have worked, and with Ahmad, it's one of the better things that we've seen so far in my eyes. So, I think he's still definitely at that value. I don't think you're going to get someone in a big team with a good set of fixtures and potentially playing pretty strong role in the side. I think Ahmad has really good potential, and I do kind of regret not getting him last week when I was talking about doing so. But hey ho, we live on. I do think that if you're looking for a cheap option, that Ahmad is a good one to go for right now. I still say Mazraoui and Bruno are probably my top picks from United.
Yeah.
But that's when I was probably come with him in the next spot. Someone keeps asking, by the way, about Aston Villa penalties, Watkins or Rodgers.
Tielemans missed, obviously, last time out, but he could still take the second one. There's no gimme that Tielemans gives him up.
Yeah, I saw there was a poll I saw the other day, like on an Aston Villa site, and they literally on the back of that were like, who should be taking our penalties? And it was like everyone's just like, just give it to Watkins. Why does Watkins not take penalties? Like, just always
50% conversion rate, mate. That's why he's terrible.
I know, but that's ridiculous. Why you got 50% conversion rate if he's a goal? Like, that's literally his job in football. It's just like, I don't understand why he wouldn't be able to score penalties.
I've not actually checked that. That's me being extreme examples why let the truth get in the way of a good story.
But no,
I bet it's not. I bet it's not far off 50. Like, it'll be like 60. I say it's a terrible conversion rate. I know that. Someone can tell us in the chat. Okay, yeah, fair point. I mean, I look forward to seeing what happens with Villa and Pens. What we do know, by the way, guys, I hinted earlier with Big Man, sort of a bit tongue in cheek, but there was a Spurs penalty last night. It's the first time Solanke and Son have been on the pitch together when there was a pen. So we now know at least Son is first choice penalty taker at Spurs, which was something we didn't know. We all guessed, but there was hope for some that Solanke would get them. Okay, let's move on from Big Man's team. Big Man, your team's awesome. I'm jealous. Very well set with that double Arsenal defence as well. You're just going to get clean sheet after clean sheet.
Is it though? I mean, there are a few things that, personally I would change if
I don't like Ryle, but other than that,
I think I would have. Yeah, I think I'd probably have Raya over Flecken, and I think I mean Saliba's all right, but I sort of regret not picking Timber over him. I think Timber is the better pick. He got an assist in midweek as well. The only reason I didn't pick him was because he wasn't spotted in training last week, and I think that's gonna come back and bite me at some point because Saliba just doesn't have the goal threat and he's 0.5 expensive. So yeah, unless I jam a lucky goal from Saliba, I think I'm probably gonna end up regretting that decision. And ideally, the optimal sort of three I would own from Arsenal are probably Raya, Gabriel, and Saka. But yeah, simply because the way my team is sort of set up, I don't think I will have that luxury.
Still good though. Apparently, it's 44 conversion rate says FPL Joe for Watkins on penalties. Well, that is absolutely dire. 44.44%. I don't know if you can name me a Premier League player that's ever had a lower rate than that from a sample size of, say, I don't know, plus 10 pens. I'd be surprised. FPL Fella says, Bowen's going to score tomorrow and everyone's going to go and Burmo to Bowen. That you're probably right if he does score, but I don't think he will. But even if he does, I don't think I will be. I just do not see Lopetegui team scoring enough goals to invest that sort of money in Jarrod Bowen, no matter how good he is. Anyway, let's have a quick look at my team. I need a bit of a council session. Also, just a reminder, guys, we've got over 500 of you watching. We need 10 more subscribers. I've just had a note from the producer saying if we get 10 more subscribers, we'll give away possibly 10 memberships. I think we've got an allocation of 10 memberships to use. Whoa. So to be in a chance of winning a channel membership, which means you get access to all of our extra content we do, you've got to hit that subscribe button. So you may as well do it. In the next 3 minutes, at some point, we will give away those memberships and it goes randomly to 10 people in the chat. So at any point now in the next 3 minutes, they could drop into the chat and it goes to people that have been active in the conversation. So start getting your comments in. Like you can just say rubbish in there. You can say nice things in there. You can say average things in there. No. Get talking. And meanwhile, this is not something I've done yet, but something I'm very likely to do. It is Haaland out to João Pedro, Dibbling out to Salah. It's a 4-point here. It leaves me with a ton of money in the bank to then go and Burmo to Saka or Bruno to Saka next week. And it puts Rodgers as my 8th attacker. Big Man, what's your first impression of this team? I mean, it's still light at the back. Mikalenko is far from ideal. And maybe I start Greaves instead. But in terms of the decisions here, which I've not clicked the buttons on yet, Salah and João Pedro in.
Yeah, I think the transfers are straightforward for you. I would be making the same transfers. And yeah, the defense is a bit of a concern, but you can sort of start working on it next week. You don't exactly have to take hits this week to sort the defense out.
Yeah.
The team looks fine. I mean, the front seven, the front eight are perfect.
I could go Saka and then Salah next week. Like I'm buying Saka and Salah in the next 2 games. I think
Salah's a better player on this week.
Salah's clear.
Yeah. He's not exactly clear, but I think he's a better player to own than Saka this week. And then next week you can then potentially get the Saka thing done.
Yeah, okay. Cool. Okay, that's
good. But are you not planning on using any transfers on defense at all, though?
Yeah, I mean, with the money I have left over, I'll be able to upgrade a Mikalenko to a Timber, for example. Is the plan. Like I could go Bruno to Saka, and then I can go Mikalenko to Timber, or Lewis to Timber.
Yeah, that would sort a lot of issues in your team out. I think your team will be. You'll probably have a good Christmas, I think, with this team.
No, don't. I can't. I just will I? I tell you what, if the team doesn't perform, with regret, I probably won't have a good Christmas. That's how sad my life is. I once said to Cam, is that how football says? I once said to Cam, Italy didn't make the World Cup in Russia in 2018. And I said to Cam, I was like, this is going to be the worst summer ever. And she looked at me and went, we're getting married next week.
Yeah.
Oh, Dean, thoughts on this team?
Completely lost sight of your actual life. Yeah, I like it, mate, and I actually think your front three is going to probably pay off. I think that you've got the right options in place with Cunha and João Pedro. I think you're well set. Gabriel, I mean, we haven't really talked about it in this chat, and a few people have asked as we've gone through. Like, everyone's a little bit worried about him coming off and being flagged. I'm just going to leave it, obviously, because I've got a half-decent sub and Kirkes that could come in. We're expecting him to play, though, right? Like, Arteta's just said you'll have to wait and see. I mean, we don't really listen to Arteta anyway at the best of times, but I assume we're good here.
I'd put on it. He'll play. Big man?
I agree. I mean, I wasn't expecting anything useful from his press conference anyway. So, yeah, this is pretty much the standard Arteta code that we sort of get every week. I would expect him to be fine, yeah.
Yeah, that's good news. That's good news.
Selling Haaland is such a big deal to me, Sally, that I've actually not clicked these buttons yet. If you want to tune into my deadline stream at 5:30 p.m. on my channel, then I'll be making those calls. I might even change my mind. Like, I've been pretty open about the fact that there is still a slim chance I keep Haaland. Let me just, before we go, just mention to Big Man what that looks like. I think I said to Dean earlier. I could keep Haaland and then sell Solanke to João Pedro, Big Man. So Solanke goes, João Pedro comes in. We have gifted 5 memberships, and Taylor, Dean's wife, has got one.
Oh my
Rig. I call rigging.
We might be able to give away another 5 in the next couple of minutes, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, Big Man, it would be Haaland stays, Solanke goes. I can still get to Salah from Bruno, but it means no Bruno versus Everton. It also means no Saka over Christmas, because my front three would be locked. My premiums would be locked in Haaland, Palmer, and Salah, and it means no double Arsenal defence or no Saka.
Yeah, I mean, it basically means that you have Haaland, but you have a significantly weaker team. So, I mean, you know my arguments over that. I think it's pretty clear that you keep Solanke and improve the rest of your squad.
Yeah, okay. I'm just asking the producer if we have another 5. Do we have another 5 memberships? Because if we do, stay tuned and we'll give away another 5. What do members get you? It gets you loads of extra content. Dean and I both do extra vids. It's not actually Dean's wife, by the way, guys. I tell you what we're going to do. It's 5 past the hour. We're going to do a little Q&A, but Dean and I think are going to bow out because we've been on for over an hour. But Big Man, if you're happy to stay for a 10-minute Q&A,
of course.
Big Man arrived slightly later today, so he's going to do a Q&A, and at the end of that Q&A, he will give away 5 channel memberships. So stay tuned for that and get your questions in. Remember, to win those memberships, you got to be subbed.
Absolutely, yeah.
Dean, I'll let you close us off today.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, by the way, when people do sign up as members, like, we're all ears about like what kind of extra videos you want in the members section. Like, I love, like, these lives are great. And in the members section, we just do like casually chat to the camera about our thoughts and feelings on the week and how we're heading into the game weeks. Like this week, I went through all the fixtures and thought like fixtures we can trust basically, and which players we might actually be looking at. But we're all ears in terms of like what you guys want to see in there. So always feel free to let us know, like good little 5-10 minute videos, whatever you want. That would make your week more entertaining, but also give you some insights into how to pick your team. But yeah, it's been fun. Like that was one of the most interactive. That might be the most interactive session we've ever had actually on CGA. we've had gifting, we've had gifts to us, we've had all sorts going on. It's been amazing, mate.
Yeah,
Like we've had
that's had a sticker. We were sent a sticker.
a sticker. We've had almost
What is
600
that?
in the chat, at almost all times. Like it's just been a great hour, and I'm very excited to go and watch Brighton against Southampton soon.
Don't get too excited and captain Mr. 75-minute man João Pedro, which a lot are going to do. Guys, thank you for watching. Big Man's going to carry on, so don't go anywhere. If you are tuning in as well just now, stay with us for the Q&A and then go back and watch the last hour. If you want more of me later, you probably don't. You probably had your fix. Like it's been more than enough. The guy that my rank starts at 2 and ends in million. I am back at 5:30 tonight on my channel to do a deadline stream. If you want to come along, you know where to find me, Gianni Batici on YouTube. Right. See you, big man. Good luck, man. Good luck.
See you later, bye.
All right, guys. Take care. See you. Good luck.
See everyone.
All right, guys, send in your questions. I will take them over the next 10 minutes and try to answer as many as possible. Flecken or Verbruggen? This is really, really tough. And I actually think this is one where you toss a coin, actually, because when you look at the clean sheet odds in terms of probability, both are fairly similar. Flecken tends to do much better for saves, and he's had more saves than any other keeper this season. But when you look at the clean sheet odds, Brighton are 36%, Brentford are 32%. So I would probably go with Verbruggen, but just about. Hi, Shovro. Son to Palmer with a free transfer or roll. I think if you don't have Palmer, you have to prioritize him this week. As much as I like Son this week, I think he will probably do well against Fulham. But yeah, because I feel as if Palmer is the optimal captaincy choice, I think he's probably going to be essential from this point onwards. So yeah, I'd go for Palmer. Hello Zaid is asking Semenyo, Johnson to Mitoma or Saka. I mean, Saka is much clearer of Mitoma, if that's the question. I think I would probably keep Semenyo because Semenyo will give you a good run of fixtures after this week, especially if you don't need to play that attacker this week. I think I would keep Semenyo and sell Johnson for Saka. Hello, Debanjan. I'm planning on doing João Pedro. I think I would avoid the hit if possible. I'm not generally a huge fan of taking hits in FPL, so if you can avoid taking the hit, that's what I would do. Heather is asking next week Mbomo, Iwobi, or Semenyo to Saka. I think it's got to be one of Mbomo or Iwobi. I probably will sell Iwobi, I think. I don't think he's as good of a FPL option as compared to Mbomo. And Mbomo, I assume you've bought him at a cheaper price. So, yeah, I'd keep Mbomo and sell Iwobi. Christian is asking, big man, who scores more points, Game Week 14 onwards, Bowen or Trent? I think both are really good options from next week onwards. This injury to Bradley has actually given me more confidence on Trent's minutes going forward. Initially, I had thought that because he was coming back from injury, he'll probably miss a game here or there. But now because Liverpool don't realistically have an option, they can go with Gomez. But, I mean, Trent is a much better player. So I doubt that he misses too many games. So I think I would probably prefer TA over Bowen, but I think Bowen will do really well as well. And if you're sort of looking to sell Mbomo or Bruno next week, Bowen is a good replacement. Hello, Ram. Mr. Bakar, should I keep Trent or one free transfer for Timber? I would keep Trent for the reasons I just mentioned. Zed is asking Saka, Salah, Palmer, Bruno, Mbomo, one to bench home. Good luck getting that right. I mean, it's got to be one of Saka or Bruno, realistically. But, I mean, I think it probably has to be one of the forwards, actually, in your team. I don't know who the forwards are, but whoever they are, I'm sure they're not better than the midfield that you've mentioned. Shaz is asking which is better, keep Haaland, get Odegaard, or sell Haaland, get Saka as an Arsenal cover. Already have Salah, Palmer, JP, and Isak. Yeah, I think Saka is clear of Haaland. And as mentioned earlier in the show, I think selling Haaland allows for plenty of upgrades in the rest of your squad. So, yeah, that's what I would do. Wellston is asking best two goalkeepers to own. This is interesting. I think Raya should be one, simply because of Arsenal's fixtures and how good they are from this point onwards. I think Raya should be one. And the second could be Fabianski because of because he's starting and he's a 4 million goalkeeper. So yeah, I'd probably go with Fabianski as a second. Shashant is asking thoughts on Robinson to Timber or Stupinan for a hit. It depends on if you're starting Robinson. If you're starting Robinson, then I would probably take the hit. But if you're not, then you can leave that hit for next week. Lewis is asking Raya or Allison after this week for the future. Raya, for the reasons mentioned earlier. Rina is asking play Porro or Atnori. I think Porro is quite clear of Atnori this week, so I'd play Porro. Next question is from Forza Juve. Hey, Bakar, how would you order Dunk, Rogers, Robinson? I think I would order them in the exact order that you mentioned. So yeah, Dunk should be the first in terms of priority. James is asking Saka or Palmer from -4. I think Palmer is a better player to have than Saka because of captaincy reasons. Paul is asking, is Jackson worth getting over Isak? Probably. I think Jackson is cheaper, and even though he's running the risk of getting suspended because he's on 4 yellow cards, I think he's probably a better player to buy at this point than Isak. Michael is saying bench one of Hall, Gabriel, or Dibbling. This is tough. I would probably bench Dibbling or Hall. I'd probably bench one of those. Gabriel, I won't bench. I think he'll start. Next question is, would you plan to bring Haaland back for Game Week 18, or do you plan to go without him the whole season? I think I'm planning on going without him for a while. Now, that does not necessarily mean the whole season, but that means a while. Hassan is asking, bought an Isak last week, missed the price rise last night. Would swapping Isak or Wood out for Pedro this week, or should I roll? I think this depends on the rest of your team and the upgrades that selling Isak or Wood would allow for João Pedro. Next question is Solanke to Cunha for hit. No, not at all. I think Solanke is actually a better player to own this week. Next question is start Collins or Hall. Collins has the better fixture, so I'd go with Collins. Next question is from Offcore. Havertz, 2 of interest over Christmas. I mean, Havertz is nice, but the thing is with Saka, double Arsenal defense, potentially even triple Arsenal defense, it's sort of hard to recommend Havertz because there's so many Arsenal assets to get. Next question is give reasons for Palmer over other captains. Big man, I'm stuck on which to choose. I've mentioned bookmakers probability. I've mentioned Aston Villa's form. And I've also mentioned recency bias being one of the big reasons to go for Palmer. But it's very close, so I could easily be wrong, right? So it's one where you should go with your gut and not necessarily trust me with this call. Thoughts on a Stupinan? I think Stupinan is fine. But the thing with the Stupinan is that he's 0.5 more expensive than the rest of the Brighton defenders, and he's sort of more prone to rotation as well. Any Kanate updates? We expect him to be fine, but there's been no concrete news as such. Hey, Bakar, I spent my one free transfer on Havertz to João Pedro debating. It's tough to say. If you're playing Brennan, then I think it's a bit of a risk because he might not start. I generally am not a fan of taking hits, so I would probably defer that transfer to next week. If you can do it for free, that would be ideal. Next question, please. Next question is from FPL-CSK. Hey, big man, make the move for Luis Diaz to Palmer. Yes, I would bench one of Garnacho, Udogi, Raul. I would bench Udogi, I think. Any bench boost weeks you like coming up? I generally like bench boosting in the double game weeks, so that's what I would do. Nawaf is asking Solanke to João Pedro or Johnson to Mitoma. I'd keep Solanke, I think. I would find another route to João Pedro. Johnson to Mitoma, yeah, I mean, I guess it's one you can do. Next question. Hey, big man, Solanke to Jackson or Watkins in Game Week 14 rotation? Worries me. I think Solanke should be safe for starts. Who will he get rotated with? He's pretty much a 90-minute man in most weeks. So, yeah, I won't worry about rotation. Lee's asking best option to get in this week, Timber, Saliba, or Gabriel. I think I would buy Gabriel. Actually, it's tough because Gabriel is a bit of an injury doubt. But assuming that injuries aren't a concern, I think I would rate the Arsenal defense as Gabriel, Timber, Saliba in that order. So I guess you can get Timber this week and Gabriel later if you want. But if you're only getting one of them, then I would definitely get Gabriel. Jamil is asking, hey, big man, Haaland to Jackson, dribbling to Saka for -4, just Haaland, it's already have Salah. If you don't have Palmer, I think I would probably go with Palmer over Saka. D-Web is asking Gusto for Chelsea's good fixtures. Gusto is fine, but again, he sort of strikes me as someone who is prone to injuries and could be prone to rotation. So I think if you're going for Chelsea defender, I would prefer Colwill. We've gifted 5 Chasing Green Arrow memberships, by the way, guys. So thank you all for joining in. It means a lot to have your support over the course of the week. So if you could please like this video and subscribe to the channel, that would generally be appreciated. My producer will just tell me the members we've gifted the memberships to. So I'll just announce. So the first is FPL Sparta. Congratulations. The second is Jamie. Congratulations. We have 3 more. I'm just waiting for the producer to let me know. The third is Lean Pedersen. The fourth is Treble. And the 5th lucky winner is FPL Roy. So congratulations to everyone who won the memberships. And thank you all for joining in. We'll see you all again next week. And good luck for this game week.